Okay, good morning and a very happy New Year 2023 to all of you present here and all the online viewers as well. Before we start the session, let us rise for the universal prayer. O hidden life, vibrant in every atom.
O hidden life, vibrant in every atom.
O hidden light, shining in every creature.
O hidden light, shining in every creature.
O hidden love, embracing all in oneness.
O hidden love, embracing all in oneness.
May all who feel themselves as one with thee
May all who feel themselves as one with thee
know they are also one with every other.
know they are also one with every other.
Please be seated. Thank you. Welcome to this TOS session with Nancy Secrest, International Secretary, as the speaker. In 2013, when I was invited to the summer convention of American Theosophical Society in Wheaton, Chicago, I met an amazing lady and was greatly impressed by her brain and beauty with long curly hairs kept open. Then the convention went on. On the last day of the convention, I met her, but she looked different with her hair, cut short. And I came to know that she had allowed her hair to grow, and that evening only she cut her hair to donate to the Locks of Love, a non-profit organization who makes wigs for the financially disadvantaged children who lost their hair due to some diseases. So this is Nancy Secrest, a caring, loving, compassionate, and intelligent lady, and a great source of inspiration and motivation to all of us. Nancy studied metaphysics and comparative religion in childhood, encountered theosophy in her early 20s, and joined the Theosophical Society in 1980. She worked at the Crotona Theosophical Institute in the US during 1987-88 through 1990. A certified public accountant by profession, Nancy subsequently served as the National Treasurer of the TSA for 18 years. She currently holds the position of International Treasurer of the Theosophical Society. I really wonder, how is it that her both parts of brain are so active? Usually, some have the right part of the brain is active, the other one is a bit dull, or left is active and right is dull, but her both parts of brain is really active, very active, amazing, incredible. Nancy, since then, she currently holds the position of International Treasurer of the Theosophical Society. Nancy became the International Secretary of the Theosophical Order of Service in December 2014. Since then, she has traveled in the USA, Europe, and Asia, giving presentations, talks, and workshops on TOS work around the world and related theosophical topics. Her articles and some of her talks have been published in the Theosophist and other theosophical publications. So with these words, I request Nancy Secrest to take the floor. Thank you.
Thank you, Deepa. I never thought of my brain that way before. That's interesting. Good morning, everyone, and a Happy New Year. I know you've been hearing that a lot, but it is a Happy New Year. And my best to all of you, beloved brothers and sisters. There is no other in this world. Each is a separate form, but one spirit lives and moves in all. This is my favorite quote from Annie Besant, and I thought that it was apropos to the topic of our convention. Annie Besant, the second president of the Theosophical Society, announced the founding of the Theosophical Society Order of Service and published its provisional constitution in the February 1908 supplement to the Theosophist. The document stated its purposes and set forth a structure of governance. It begins, I hereby constitute an order to be called the Theosophical Society Order of Service, under the constitution of which leagues may be formed for any special purpose on which a group of members is agreed. The provisional constitution of the TOS outlined an organization of leagues. Within 3 years, there were over 60 leagues worldwide. They focused on such issues as animal welfare, education for the poor, the promotion of Braille, temperance and prison reform, and in India, the abolition of child marriage. Besant herself was a card-carrying member of the Animal Welfare League. We found her certificate, which is pictured here in the archives. I was thrilled when we found that. The document also acknowledged that Besant had founded the organization at the behest of members who wanted to put into action the first object of the society, to form a nucleus of universal brotherhood of humanity without distinction of sex, creed, caste, or color. This is still true today and is one of the main reasons for the existence of the TOS. Then, in March 1908 issue of the Theosophist, Besant acknowledged that her inspiration for founding the TOS Order of Service might be found in an article written by a master of the wisdom and printed by HPB in an early number of Lucifer. The master's article titled Some Words on Daily Life said, Theosophy should not represent merely a collection of moral verities, a bundle of metaphysical ethics epitomized in theoretical discussions. Theosophy must be made practical, and it has, therefore, to be disencumbered of useless digressions in the sense of desultory orations and fine talk. Let every theosophist only do his duty, that which he can and ought to do, and very soon the sum of human misery within and around the area of every branch of your society will be found visibly diminished. Forget self in working for others, and the task will become an easy and a light one for you. While the master's article and members' requests may have been the immediate inspiration and impetus for the founding of the TS Order of Service, Besant herself had a commitment to service since childhood. By the time she became international president of the Theosophical Society, Besant had been a prominent social activist for many years. She worked for the betterment of the poor, for better working hours, better labor conditions, safer working conditions, and workers' and women's suffrage. Do you know the story of the match girls? These were young women and boys who sold matches on the corner of streets in London, I believe it was, for pennies. The case came under her work with it came from the fact that in the factories that produced the matches, phosphorus was used. And this chemical ate away the jaws of these young women. I saw a movie only a week or two ago that actually was about this. Besant was not mentioned, but it talked about how the match factories had been using some other chemical, which was fine, it didn't hurt anybody, and it was cheaper for them to use phosphorus, so they switched. And all of a sudden, these women started becoming sick, and the management of the factory said that they had the flu or something, when in reality, it was this phossy jaw. So this social activism brought this fact to light and helped the women to overcome this with the management. The experience Dr. Besant brought to the TOS in its formative years was rich, and her writings often spoke of duty, of altruism, of selfless service. Her presidential address of 1907 asked the question, "What of our practice? Our lodges should not be contented with the program of lectures, private and public, and with classes. The members should be known as good workers in all branches of beneficent activity. The lodge should be the center, not the circumference of our work. To the lodge for inspiration and knowledge, to the world for service and teaching." The world was a busy place in those early years of the TOS. The North Pole was reached in 1908, and the South Pole a couple of years later. The first airplane flight was made across the United States. It took 84 days. Where am I? The World Congress for Women's Rights opened in Amsterdam. King Edward VII of Great Britain met with Emperor Franz Joseph to advise Germany against aggressive anti-British policies, and there were race riots in Springfield, Illinois, in the United States. In 1910, the 13th Dalai Lama fled Tibet from Chinese troops to the British Indies. Gandhi was at work in South Africa, and in 1922, Portugal approved women's suffrage, the first country to do so. When Annie Besant founded the TOS, vast numbers in the population of England and other countries suffered under the weight of horribly long work hours, meager wages, child labor, oppression of women and those of other races or ethnicities, crime and war or the threat of war. The newly formed TS leagues worked to alleviate the suffering caused by these and other societal woes. Today, the TOS concept of leagues has given way to project-focused collaboration as in its principal areas of concern: education, peace, social services, healing, arts and music, animal welfare, the environment, and emergency relief. For the last number of years, the empowerment of women has been an international focus, and of course, most recently, helping those who have been affected physically, economically, and educationally by the spread of the COVID-19 pandemic has taken center stage in our work, along with aid to those who have been displaced by the conflict between Russia and the Ukraine. The world has changed since 1908, in part due to the efforts of members of the TS and the TOS who focused on service as spiritual action and lived the first object and made it practical. The citizens of many countries in the world today enjoy shorter work weeks, better wages, better health care, housing, educational opportunities, and religious freedom than our forebears. The work continues. There are still places in the world today where some of these basic rights have yet to be achieved. But all in all, in many places, the world is a better place today than in years and centuries past. In a talk by Mrs. Diana Dunningham-Chapotin in January 2015, she said that, quote, "Because the media bring almost instantly into our living room reports of acts of great violence committed on the other side of the globe, we have the impression that the world is an increasingly dangerous place to live. In fact, individual and collective violence has been steadily declining over the past 1,000 years. The number of wars and the number of deaths through war all over the world have been going down for many centuries, proportionate to the number of people on Earth." This is very important to realize because it doesn't feel like that's what's happening, but proportionate to the number of people on Earth, this violence has decreased. She said that, well, we need to be careful of statistics. It can be reliably said that today's citizens are far less at risk of being killed or subjected to violence than a century ago, and far, far less at risk than 1,000 years ago. It is also true that because of media, such as television, radio, and the internet, with email and social media access virtually at our fingertips, the planet seems a much smaller place. The ease and speed of travel nowadays adds to this as well. The pandemic we have experienced over these last few years showed us the negative effects with COVID-19 virus being communicated at lightning speed all around the world. At the same time, over the last few years, many of us discovered Zoom and other meeting medias that allowed us to improve our communications and remain in touch with each other. The pandemic that began in March 2020 continues, with physical meetings just recently being reinstated. Instead, we have traveled virtually, with Adyar and other conventions, conferences, and online talks given by various sections around the world being accessible worldwide. Ironically, this has allowed us to reach many more people than by localized physical programs. The TOS online programs were presented in India, the Philippines, Argentina, the USA, Ukraine, and Adyar, with speakers such as Tim Boyd, Deepa Padi, Nancy Secrest, Shiva Prasad in India, and Rekha Harder in the Philippines, and others. I am finding for myself that as the world gets smaller in this way, it is easier to see that we all share the same basic needs and have the same basic rights to shelter, food, clean water, opportunities to provide for ourselves and our families, human dignity, respect, justice, freedom, and the pursuit of spiritual enlightenment. The smaller the world becomes for us, and the easier it is to connect with each other, the more we understand each other. The more we understand each other, the more apparent the oneness of all life becomes to us. As Annie Besant said, there is no other in this world. Each is a different form, but one spirit lives and moves in all. When we look at it this way, we know that by serving others, we serve ourselves. We can see that in the TOS, service work goes beyond feeding the body or the mind. It is a spiritual path that, when trodden consciously and selflessly, serves the giver as much as the receiver. This is reflected in the twofold purpose of the TOS, which remains the same today as at its inception. The unselfish service of the needy and suffering, and the inner transformation of the server. Roder Bernier wrote, quote, "The Theosophical Order of Service was founded by Dr. Annie Besant in 1908 so that the sum of pain in the world may be reduced, to some extent at least, and at the same time help its workers to learn, through their service and the attention they pay to the quality of their work, to purify the mind. The order of service has therefore a double purpose. From this point of view, it is not merely the doing of work which is important, but the manner in which it is done and the purity of purpose behind it." Close quote. Today, the TOS is active in 36 countries of the Theosophical Society, doing humanitarian work based on spiritual concepts. Today, as in the beginning, TOS workers find a joy and a freedom in their work. Let's take a look at some of it. To begin with, you may not know of the TOS interest in the United Nations. The TS and TOS have supported the UN since its inception in 1945, as well as its predecessor, the League of Nations. In fact, Annie Besant became one of the first members of the League of Nations Union in England. The TOS's UN committee produced a brochure printed in October 2011, outlining the support shown to the UN by every TS president since Annie Besant. Support by the UN is also shown through local TOS celebrations on UN Day, and our former Spanish language coordinator, the late Fernando Perez Martin, published more than 30 issues of a newsletter about the UN's activities. Currently, the TOS is exploring NGO affiliation with the UN. If pursued, this process will take a few years to realize. And ironically, our diverse reach may preclude us from being able to join, but we are looking into it. One of the service areas shared in common by the TOS and the UN is the promotion of peace. We all know of the conflict between Russia and Ukraine that now seems to have devolved into full-blown war. While the TOS does not involve itself in politics, we are dedicated to giving humanitarian aid wherever necessary. During the past years, letters from the TOS Ukraine asking for assistance have been shared with directors and presidents of the TOS worldwide. Here is a quote from the most recent one. Quote, as a result of the armed attack on Ukraine and damage to civilians' residential buildings and communications, many humanitarian problems have arisen. As of today, which was June 28, 2022, about 3 million civilians live out of the country as refugees, and about 10 million civilians left their homes and moved to the western regions of our country, becoming internally displaced persons. In addition, those villages and cities which were under occupation and then returned to Ukraine administration are essentially destroyed, and those people need support. So all of these people need water, food, medicine, housing, basic necessities. Today, our TS members actively cooperate with social organizations and also organized our own TOS activity to provide humanitarian aid to those in need. The TOS in Ukraine received letters of sympathy and support from all corners of the world. Letters and financial support for refugees came from, and I have to take a deep breath, this is a long list, Italy, Slovenia, the Philippines, Spain, Portugal, Australia, France, Ireland, Finland, India, Greece, Germany, Hungary, the USA, the UK, the Netherlands, Canada, Mexico, Belgium, and New Zealand. Acquaintances and strangers express support, sympathy, and peaceful intentions in their annual report, Ukraine expressed heartfelt gratitude to all who responded with their hearts to our trouble. This slide from back in 2002 shows the use of a billboard ad by the TOS in Chennai to promote tolerance and understanding of the unity of all life. When I saw it for the first time, its poignancy struck me so much that I wanted to share it with you. It shows a human eye shedding a single tear. It says, Parsis tear, Hindu, Muslim, Jains, Sikhs, Christians, Buddhists, or a tear of human agony. Think about it. No matter who we are, the tears we shed have the same salty taste of human suffering. Every time society faces a lapse of sanity, we lose our most precious possession, our humanity. Let us now come together to restore our faith in one another, to bring back the confidence which enables us to fearlessly to walk the streets of our own neighborhood, our own city, our own country. Let us unite to build, not to demolish. And that's what it says in all those little letters that you can't read on the bottom there. Since 2013, the TOS in Italy has been active with projects to support the Syrian people fleeing war. The projects responded to emergency requests from the Bab al-Salam refugee camp in Syria. The work the TOS in Italy has been doing to aid Syrian refugees has inspired much interest and respect, not just in the Theosophical Society, but across the Theosophical movement. The Italian TOS has sent medicine, food, clothing, much-needed footwear, tents, and firewood to those in camps and on the road. Of vital importance is the presence of Dr. Ali Nasser, a Syrian refugee but now living in Turkey with his family, who immediately activated himself in medical assistance, especially to children. Subsequently, thanks to the commitment of other associations and the many donations at the suggestion of Dr. Nasser, 2 containers with the function of a pediatric clinic were installed. The clinic, managed by him, is still active today and has been fully funded by the TOS Italy. Like war, natural disasters can displace many people. Unlike other TOS projects that may be limited in scope to the group's local area, disaster relief is a concern that we tend to respond to on an international basis. In recent years, the TOS worldwide has responded by raising funds to help with cleanup efforts, rebuilding, supplying food and water to those displaced by natural disasters, such as the earthquakes in Nepal several years ago and the earthquakes in Italy in August and October of 2016. In past years, TOS members have also offered assistance after hurricanes, also known as cyclones, and tornadoes in the Philippines, India, and the United States, and floods in India and the United States. More recently, TOS Spain is working with other NGOs in Latin America after earthquakes in Haiti and hurricanes in Honduras and Nicaragua. This year, record-breaking floods occurred in India, and cyclones again hit the Philippines. TOS members were there to help those who needed it. Teddy bears, knitted by English, Italian, and French TOS members, made their way to many children affected by some of these disasters. Belgium has now joined the program as well. Psychologists have shown that having a soft and cuddly friend to hang on to during stressful times is beneficial to small children. The TOS in England leads the way with this project. As of the last report, the TOS England had shipped over 29,300 teddies overseas. Thanks to the generosity of 2 charities, International Aid Trust and Furniture for Education Worldwide, who convey the teddies for them free of charge. For the last few years, we have been experiencing a different kind of natural disaster, a pandemic of global proportions. We have all had to deal with the effects of the COVID-19 virus in one way or another. TOS members in many countries have given aid in various ways: medical assistance to those suffering from the disease, and help to caregivers, food and financial aid to those who have lost their livelihood. A scenario exemplified here by the Hungarian TOS that was repeated in many TOS countries around the world in an attempt to ease suffering caused by the COVID pandemic, included assistance to the elderly and disadvantaged, and help to students who could only attend classes online or not at all. The Hungarian TOS also works closely with the Gypsy community there, providing clothing and household items. This year, the number of emergency support donation requests soared. Elderly couples, families with many small children, and others taking care of older relatives received a sum of money as donation to ease the crisis. Food and household articles were also given. Of special interest is a large donation received from the TOS in England for COVID-19 relief in India. The British responded to reports of suddenly increased rates of infection in India last summer. The funds were used to purchase food and household articles in several cities in India, which were then distributed by TOS members in the local areas. Food was provided in villages and to old age homes. We also purchased face masks and hand sanitizers in Chennai, supplied a month's food for a girls' home in Odisha, which is supported by TOS members there, and oxygen tanks for a COVID hospital there. Some Adyar employees who needed help with medical costs due to COVID-19 or replacement of loss of spousal income due to the lockdowns were also assisted. In addition, electronic tablets were purchased for the 8 TS scholarship students at the Adyar Theosophical Academy to allow them to participate in online classes. Many TOS groups around the world devised ways to help those who needed food and other assistance during the lockdown periods and beyond. Help is still being given, as we have not yet seen the end of this virus. Many TOS groups focus their attention on providing or supporting schools, particularly those that teach the children theosophical concepts and virtues. Helping children is close to the hearts of many theosophists. Of course, the largest and most successful of these schools is the Golden Link College in the Philippines. The Golden Link School, established by the Theosophical Order of Service in the Philippines, has been providing transformational education for less privileged children since 2002. 85% of their student body is on scholarship. The school is regarded as a model of theosophy in action throughout the theosophical world. Besides teaching core academics, the school teaches meditation and focuses on developing character, integrity, and self-confidence in its students. At the college level, courses in theosophy are part of the core curriculum. These qualities of character will be communicated to others throughout the students' lives, with the potential of causing positive changes in the world that provide peace and harmony. The Adyar Theosophical Academy has followed suit. The school is located on the Society's campus in Chennai, India. And I believe I heard Shikar say that there is an excursion there today. Don't miss it, it's a really cool place. ATA is now in its 4th year of operations and added a 5th standard this year. Now classrooms are being built to add a 6th standard next school year. This process will continue until classrooms through the 12th standard have been built. The TS, who is the one who is building these classrooms, since ATA's land and buildings actually belong to the TS and are leased from us at a very reasonable rate, we're the ones who are actually building the classrooms. So we would greatly appreciate donations to fund the construction of the classrooms. The TOS in Pakistan provides 15 home schools for 300 children, focusing on girls who would otherwise not receive an education. The TOS in Australia, New Zealand, and Italy all support individual home schools there. It costs $1,100 US per year to support a home school. These schools of literacy, founded by the Theosophical Order of Service in Pakistan, take their distinctive name from Kandil, which means lantern, and symbolizes the light of knowledge. It employs teachers who reside in poor areas of the country and who reserve a room during the day of the 2 rooms that make up their houses to make it into a classroom. The TOS provides them with whiteboards, mats for children to sit on, stationery, etc. The children learn basic educational tools of reading, writing, arithmetic, and various social skills. The TOS in Pakistan also provides nursing scholarships to young women. This program was initially run jointly with the UN's Women's Group. It now relies on donations from the TOS and others. TOS Pakistan also works with Montessori teacher training. Members there are strong in their resolve to continue with their various programs unimpeded. This is no small matter because Theosophists in Pakistan were targeted in the past and killed simply for being Theosophists. The TS was shut down, but the TOS was allowed to continue, and just last year again began presenting programs publicly with emphasis on charitable works. The TOS in Finland, along with other TOS groups, supports the work of the Alcott Memorial Higher Secondary School and the Social Welfare Center at Adyar, and also the HPB Boys Hostel. These are all located here in Chennai. The Alcott Memorial Higher Secondary School, begun in 1894 by Colonel Henry Skill Alcott, provides a solid education for underprivileged boys and girls in Adyar, a suburb of Chennai in India. The Social Welfare Center cares for small children from the local area, allowing their mothers to attend the Vocational Training Center, where they learn fabric arts, such as sewing, tailoring, embroidery, and weaving. Many other TOS groups, particularly in India, run schools or educational programs for children, and TOS members around the world sponsor the education of many hundreds of others. Even individual children can be sponsored. These include a school in the Democratic Republic of Congo, which is sponsored jointly by the French TOS and the Liberal Catholic Church. The TOS in Italy helps to support the Little Flower Convent School for the Deaf, located in Chennai, India. Founded in 1926 by the missionaries of the Immaculate Heart of Mary, the Little Flower Convent was recognized by the government of Tamil Nadu in 1931, and it became a secondary school in 1968. It welcomes 800 deaf children and young people, giving them the opportunity to obtain a recognized diploma. The convent also welcomes and gives the opportunity to work for blind people, otherwise condemned to survive on the margins of society in conditions of poverty. In Sweden, the TOS helps orphans and street children. Many TOS groups offer school supplies to children, such as these from Bangladesh. The TOS in Spain has continued with its support to the NGOs Comparte and Personas, both working in Central America and involved mainly in providing education to the most disadvantaged children, kids, and youngsters in different parts of Latin America. One bright star in the TOS world is our youth group in Tanzania. Getting youth involved in the TS and TOS work is something we all struggle with, but in Tanzania they have done it. Brazil also does outstanding work with youth. Here we see the Tanzanian TOS youth celebrating with children from the Chanika orphanage, which the TOS there helps to support. This year, the TOS in Odisha, India, also began a TOS youth group. We are hoping that this concept will spread throughout India and around the world. The TOS Healing Network operates around the world. In many places, healing groups get together, usually weekly, to perform a ritual and a healing meditation that calls the devas to assist in healing or a peaceful transition from this life. Names of those in need are submitted by family or friends, and these names are now shared internationally. During the lockdowns, when groups could not meet physically, many began electronic meetings in Zoom or like media. The healing group in Costa Rica invited those from other countries, especially those countries that do not have a healing group, to participate. Members from Paraguay, the Dominican Republic, and Puerto Rico joined the meetings. I understand that some people in the USA joined those meetings as well. Other medically related TOS projects include the issuing of mobility aids, which is a principal project of the TOS in India. The TOS in Puerto Rico collects, cleans, repairs, and sells used products of all types in a sort of flea market. The proceeds of their sale are used to buy prosthesis or implants for children in Haiti. There are many such children who were injured by falling buildings during the earthquakes there. And the earthquake there was a little while ago, but children grow, and the prostheses need to be replaced as they grow. Animals deserve healing too, or so thought Ms. Rosie Ulix of the TOS USA, who began an animal healing network a number of years ago. The TOS in Hungary has followed suit. The TOS in Argentina started its own animal shelter 6 years ago. At present, there are 21 dogs and 7 cats enjoying life there. And in the spirit of ahimsa, several TOS sections, Portugal, Uruguay, and Hungary that I know of, teach vegetarian or vegan cooking classes or have produced DVDs or vegetarian cookbooks. In Chennai, well, not a TOS program, it's part of the TS actually, the Besant Memorial Animals Dispensary has long been a favorite among TOS groups and individuals when deciding where to donate funds. BMAD, as we call it, has grown exponentially in the last 5 years. Not only does it serve dogs and cats on both an inpatient and outpatient basis, it is now home to horses, cows, donkeys, injured monkeys, and pigs. BMAD helps with the turtle hatching and release program in Chennai each year. The surgeons there have reformed. My little notes here say 1,000, and I think I learned just yesterday it's something like 2,500 spaying and neutering operations to help hold the population of the street, we call them community, dogs and cats, as well as complicated surgeries on major injuries. Recently, the government of India asked BMAD to assist in a program for wild animals, and they have been doing that. Several years ago, the International TOS declared a worldwide focus on women's issues, which we have extended ever since then. We asked TOS sections to sign on to this commitment. Several sections did sign on and are actively supporting women's safety both outside and inside the home, education for women, equal economic opportunities, and basic human rights. The especially fine work in gender issues of Dr. Deepapati and the TOS in Bhubaneswar in Odisha region attracted significant support from TOS groups in other countries. Dr. Padi tells that the initiative began when her group went to the then governor of the region and solicited his support to put up billboards to educate people about violence towards women at workplace in an attempt to stop it. Since then, they conducted seminars at workplaces, put on street plays, published a journal with many fine articles about women's issues, and a book containing a compilation of these and other articles. Proceeds from the sale of the book, Yes, She Can, go towards supporting projects for destitute women. They even conduct karate classes for young women. And you can see the young girls doing karate in one of the slides here. And I was privileged to be able to see this in person at the girls' home in Odisha when I visited. They're fierce. In the last year, sewing machines were purchased with a donation from the TOS New Zealand for use with a vocational training program in the region's slums. They actually take the sewing machines to different regions in the slums, so going to the women themselves. And scholarships have been given to 25 young women. These have been matched by donations from the TOS Italy, doubling their impact. In Kenya, women are being taught various skills such as hairdressing and manicure in order for them to help support themselves and their families. The Alcott Education Society Women's Vocational Center, while not a TOS program, is a shining example of providing poor women with skills that will help them to be more independent and to help provide for themselves and their families. The center teaches tailoring and weaving. Also, TOS groups in the USA and France help to support shelters for abused women. Recently, the TOS Odisha opened a clothing store where people can donate clothing and small household articles. Those in need can then visit the store, selecting needed articles at an extremely minimal cost. And Deepa was telling me yesterday that whatever they do make, get paid for these articles, and then again, it's really a small amount, goes to the salaries of the people who work there, and anything beyond that goes to, I forgot. I think it's to aid the scholarships for the women. Deepa will tell you quite a bit more about the activities there a little bit later. Recently, the TOS Odisha opened a clothing store where people can donate clothing. Oh, I already read that, I'm sorry. They also gave an Empowered Women of Odisha award each year to a woman who has exemplified the role of woman as empowered individual. In Kenya, the men are not forgotten. The TOS there recently invited applicants for training in tailoring, carpentry, and landscaping. The 3 candidates were selected. The training lasts for 6 months with the fees paid by the TOS. The TOS is active in 36 countries doing humanitarian service work based on spiritual concepts. Here are some of them. I want you to know that the International TOS is here to help and support you in your own service endeavors, whether in your private lives or within the TOS or the TS. The TOS has resources available on its website, which we hope to update very soon, and people willing to listen to you and to share ideas. The TOS's whole reason for existence is to support the Theosophical Society's work in making theosophy of transformational value in the world and in the life of the individual spiritual seeker. We all need to work together in the service of all that suffers. I slept and dreamt that life was joy. I awoke and saw that life was service. I acted, and behold, Service was joy. Thank you.